Welcome to this overview of the Cost History Report for Azure. To find this report, head to the navigation menu on the left-hand side of the screen, click on Reports, then Cost, and select History. The Cost History Report may look very similar to what is displayed on the default dashboard for Azure. However, there are two major differences between the dashboard and the Cost History Report. The first difference is that the dimensions and measures are at the top of the screen in the Cost History Report. The second is, if you scroll down, you'll see that the information available in the visual at the top of the screen is also available in a tabular view. The tabular view of the data in the Cost History Report is ideal for those who are strictly looking at the numbers and don't want the visual representation of said data from the chart above. Scrolling back up to the top of the screen, let's take a more in-depth look at the dimensions and measures. With its default configuration, the Cost History Report shows costs for your entire Azure infrastructure by a monthly interval for the past 13 months. You can drill down into this report by applying a filter. Click on the Filters dropdown to see the full list of filters that you can choose from. Say, for example, I was interested in looking at my cost history for a specific Azure subscription. I can click on the plus sign next to Subscriptions, and then select the subscription I want to see the cost history for. Or, if I want to see cost history for multiple subscriptions, I can select as many as I want to filter down to simply by clicking the checkbox next to the subscription. Once I've made my selections, I'll click on the Update button to apply the filter so then I can see the cost history data specific to the subscription or the subscriptions I selected under the filter. To remove filters and return the cost history report to its default configuration, simply click the red X within the Filters dropdown and it resets the view. Filters allow you to drill down to many different variables. If you wanted to look at the cost history report for a specific month, if you wanted to view costs for a specific cost center, or if you wanted to see costs by availability zone, you can do all of this by applying a filter. You'll notice on the Filters dropdown that some of the filters have a capital letter P next to them. That P stands for perspective. A perspective is a lens through which you view your Azure information, and it provides a framework for categorizing all of the assets within your infrastructure. Sample perspectives may include environment, cost center, or application. It is important to note that perspectives are unique to each organization, so the options will vary based on how your organization set up their perspectives. Perspectives allow you to organize the report view that best suits your needs. For example, if you're an engineer and are only interested in your development or production environment, you could select the Environment perspective, select Production, and then click the Update button to filter this report so you're only looking at the costs from your production environment. Moving further into the dimensions and measures, you have the option to look at your cost history by specific time intervals. Using the Interval dropdown, you can change the default view of monthly to look at the chart from either a weekly or a daily viewpoint. Weekly will show 52 weeks of costs, and daily will provide the last 61 days of costs. Next to the Interval dropdown are the options for the X and Y axes. You can change the default view of the X-axis, which is set to months, to other options using the X-axis dropdown. The Y-axis is set to show total cost by default. For the Azure Cost History Report, you can set the Y-axis to other options including amortized cost, projected monthly cost, and total cost before reallocation. Next is the Category dropdown, which groups your data within the visual chart. The category is currently set to bucket this data by service category, so all costs are organized by area of service. If you want, you can change the category to look at other factors such as enrollments, accounts, or subscriptions. Additionally, there are a number of perspective views that you can select from to categorize your view. You have the option to change the chart type. If a bar graph isn't what you need, you can change it to an area chart, a pie chart, or a line graph. The chart type options will vary based on how you have configured your interval, the X and Y axes, and the category. You can project out costs by using the forecasting tool. Under Options, you can forecast out by a number of months, and you can choose how to estimate this data by looking at, say, the last 3 months, 6 months, or the last year of Azure costs. So if I wanted to project out my costs for the next 3 months based on the past 3 months, I could do so by setting the values here. Please note that the forecasting options will vary based on what you have set for your time interval. Let's look at a use case scenario for the cost history report. At first glance, I can see that the two most prominent colors in the cost history report are the dark navy blue and this light blue. Simply by hovering over the dark blue bars, I can see that this color represents the monthly virtual machine compute costs. I have a feeling that the significant cost in November, represented by the light blue, is an upfront cost for either a committed use discount or reserved instances. Hovering over this, I can see that it is, in fact, VM reservation order upfront costs. Let's remove the reservation order upfront from view to get a better sense of our monthly costs. To do so, I'm going to click on the light blue box in the legend to remove these costs from the chart. If I wanted to bring back the reservation order upfront costs, I would simply click on the box in the legend again. With the reservation order upfront costs out of view, I can see that our monthly VM compute costs are averaging roughly the same amount from month to month, which means we are doing a good job at managing and optimizing our monthly VM compute costs, most likely through reservation orders and other discount or savings mechanisms. After you have gone through and configured all of the options within the Azure Cost History Report to your liking, you can save the modified report by clicking on the Actions dropdown and selecting Save As. This report, with its customizations, is then available to view under Reports and Saved Reports in the navigation menu. Additionally, you can download the visual of the chart as a PNG or the tabular data as a CSV, also using the Actions dropdown. You can also share this report through a link. If you have made customizations to the report, they will be included in a unique link that you can share with others in your organization. Next to Actions, you have the option to subscribe to the report. You can have the report run and emailed to you or to others on a regular basis. You must, however, save the report in order to subscribe to it. And that completes this overview of the Azure Cost History Report.